All right, building chords. I was going to send this to some students. Maybe I'll send it to everybody if maybe I've talked to you about this, or maybe it doesn't make any sense to you. And but anyway, chords, where they come from, right? Why are certain chords include certain notes, right? This is the basis of music theory, which is a term that sounds scarier than it is, right? So I did two chord scales, what's called chord scales. Let's look at this first one, C, right? So I started by writing out a C major scale, right? If you look at the bottom note of every one of these chords here, it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? Okay, pretty straightforward. It's key of C, so there's no sharps or flats in the key signature. Then all I did was build the chords by going, if the note was on a line, I went line, line, line above it. If it was a space, 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 line, 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 space, 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 right? I didn't even think about it, okay? Turns out those, we call those the first, the third, and the fifth. Each chord has a first, third, and fifth. But anyway, that's it. I built the chord scale in C simply by doing that, right? Now let's see what those chords are. Well, I wrote it down underneath, and you can verify that, right? Play those chords and check it out, and you'll see that the notes in those chords are these notes, okay? And I put the Roman numerals up there because unfortunately that's how they're referred to. Maybe a lot of people have heard of 1, 4, 5, right? Your blues chords, C, F, and G, right? You might have heard of that there's a relative minor in each key. That's the sixth chord, right? In the key of C, it would be A minor, the sixth chord. In jazz chord progressions, we do 2, 5, 1s. Anyway, so then I did another one in D, right? I started with D. I put the key signature from D, very important, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then went space, 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 line, 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 space, 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 line, 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 right? And built my chord scale in D. Now, why don't those chords end up being the same chords that are in the C scale? Well, because of this, because F and C are sharp, right? So if you look at that first D chord, the one chord here, it's D, F sharp, and A. That's why it's D and not D minor like this one, which has a D natural, right? So there you go. That's now what I for those of you who are really looking to get into music theory, do it for another scale. Do it for A or F, right? You're on your own, right? Just write out that scale, put in the key signature, build the chords, and figure out what they are. It's a really good exercise, and it applies to any instrument, even though we're guitar players, but it applies to any instrument, which is why it's music theory, not guitar theory. Anyway, I hope that helps. I'm gonna put out another one of these, talking a little bit more about it, particularly in the context of jazz. But check this out. I hope, and let me know if it helps at all. All right, adios.